Tell him.
Oh, that was with the shit.
I'm
still on that. Oh man, and that's how we restart. 2 years and now we back to it. What's good, y'all? This is For the Culture. Is it for the culture or is it for us?
This is a special edition of For the Culture.
Yeah, this is the return, I suppose. You know what I'm saying? It's been 2 years. Crazy. 2 years. Got chest hairs and shit now, you know.
He's got chin hair and shit.
His hair has length. He can
I could
do the willow, the back and forth.
Motherfuckers got hair now.
Huh.
No more bald Eli.
Never. I was 12th grade.
Nah, 12th grade is
that was
crazy.
1 year.
That was.
And my barber did me dirty.
Oh man, that's how it goes.
Fault.
That's how. Don't talk to me about barbers. I got a good one now, but like, boy, them first 14 years was rough.
I was getting like Caesars.
What? I was getting, bro. I left the barbershop looking like I was in a fight, bro. Like I was leaving there cuts and scratches. You thought I was scrapping every time I went. Like
put the alcohol over there,
bro. They was taking the alcohol and the paper towel and just on me like
steaming
all around. Middle of the summer, it's hot outside. My skin even hotter. Like I feel like I'm burning up. But yeah, you know, we back with it.
Yeah, this is us. Basically, I hit Chris up to. Basically, when we stopped For the Culture, we didn't stop just like for any crazy reasons. We stopped mostly because of scheduling and stuff like that. And Chris wanted to start his music career, and I don't even know what I was getting ready to do.
Life.
But it wasn't this. And we decided to put it on hold. So I felt like now that it's been 2 years, Chris is a little bit more solid in his decision to go into music, and I have something that I'm ready to start working on and explaining, and this might be my main thing. I thought it would be a good time for us to sit down, and we don't have space to, have people hear us out on why we think we should do what we do, or the method and process of why we want to go the ways we're going. So I thought it would be best to come back to our own thing and explain ourselves. Makes it a little bit easier. And this is home for us. We started this, from us having conversations and, about pop culture and life and learning a lot through each other. And so now using it as like a space where we can, share new ideas, share new parts of our lives.
Word, life has gotten, I can't speak for Eli, but for me at least, it's definitely gotten more complicated, and definitely in good and bad ways. New positions, new roles, new responsibilities, definitely more freedoms now, but more freedom equals more to take care of, equals more to do, more in motion, which is wonderful, but at the same time is more in motion. So, more on your plate. But everything takes time. And one thing I will say though for sure is like I'm happy that all the stuff that I'm doing now, I wasn't doing it 2 years ago because I wouldn't have been prepared for it 2 years ago. Like I went through a lot of ups, a lot of downs. You know what I'm saying? So like if I was in like the spaces and the rooms that I'm in now 2 years ago, I would have crumbled. No cap, I wouldn't have been ready. So I'm happy that, it came at the right time.
Yeah. So what's some all right, so when we decided to stop the show, that's when you were really starting to get ready to push with rapping. From that point, when you made the decision, or when you had already made the decision,
but get more serious.
Putting your foot on the gas. Between then and now, what is some of the work that you've done that you're gonna use to keep growing, but you've also used to grow from back then?
In terms of like habits and stuff.
In terms of getting better. In terms of consistency, like what are some things that have
I
driven
say
that?
some things I realized is that like one thing I noticed is infrastructure is very important. You know what I'm saying? I was very big on just doing it myself, which you can do to a certain extent, but you're gonna burn out. That's gonna happen if you're doing it all yourself. Also, you're also not the best at everything. It's good to be good at everything or to be good at a lot of things, but you know, if you really want to create a high quality product, especially if you're doing it with less resources than your competitors or like the other people in your industry, you have to find ways to create quality at an affordable price, and you have to be able to outsource it or at least have people that you can trust and work with consistently. So infrastructure is one thing I was really focused on. But it was one of those things, like with a lot of things I'm doing, like I didn't really know how I was going to do it because there's no blueprint to this. I was figuring out as I go, but I was just trying to like keep the pieces, and really what I realized is just the people I meet, the creatives, the artists or whatever I meet that I want to work with on a consistent basis. Do I like them as a person? Do I value do our values align? Do our goals align? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be 100% aligned, but like, you know, are we doing this for the same reasons, or are they doing this for the right reasons? Like when it's all said and done, are they really solid? You know what I'm saying? Like, do they really stand on what they say? Do they really like do their best with everything they do? You know what I'm saying? Things like that matter to me. Does it matter to them? If that's the case, like if we really could be homies aside from this music, if I just met you randomly at a party and we became bros, then you know what I'm saying, we good. Then we can really work and lock in. And then once I started to meet those kind of people and lock in with them, we developed infrastructure. So now it's like I don't really have a team per se, but at the same time I got people y'all can walk. There's folks in the background all walking around and stuff. But yeah, like I don't really have a team per se, but I do have people I know I could count on to get this done, to get that done. And because we work with each other a lot, I know that they can get it done in a way that I'm gonna like, so I can trust the final product, or at least trust this stage in the process. Another thing that really helped me was really technology. Like I use my phone and my laptop, everything is synced up. Like my calendar is like set up from like beginning of the month to the end of the month. I like know like maybe 80% of what I'm gonna be doing. Obviously things happen last minute, but for like 80 to 85% of the time, I know what's gonna happen, what I'm doing for the month. I know what moves I'm gonna make, and then that's how I budget things and like, okay, I gotta make sure I got bread this weekend for that and that and that, and just trying to get things done. Cause like, you know, you're doing it yourself or you're doing it with smaller resources than, like I said, those in your industry. So you gotta just make it happen.
That's what brings out, you know, the good, or like, you know, you can do better work when you have less and you rely on that.
Yeah.
You know,
it's weird because it's like that same hunger that pushes you to be consistent, but some reason also pushes you to make better stuff. Like I feel like music is one of those industries where that's shown a lot, because a lot of times you'll see artists that make it and their music turns to shit after they make it. You know, because they don't have that same drive that they used to, and now it's just kind of like it's whatever. But yeah, I'm about to cut you off. You good?
So, how would you? Because really, I wanted this to be able to, like, so we can explain all the nitty gritty, so that if there's any need of someone going, why is he, or you know, what's his intention, it can be found on our platform. So why rap, and yeah, why the style you choose, why? Because a lot of people see someone pick up something new and they, you know, it's easy to hate.
Facts.
Especially when it's the beginning and you're still figuring stuff out and you have to put stuff out to get better.
Yeah.
It's easy to go, that doesn't look good, that doesn't sound good, or whatever. So why even? There has to be something.
I don't know. Like for me it was weird because I think one of our previous episodes I mentioned this, but like I was always one of those kids like I never wanted to be a rapper. Like at the same time I didn't want to be like a cop or like an accountant or anything. Like I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my life, but I just knew for a fact I did not want to be a rapper, because in my head it was just like, that's what you expect from me, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, I love rap music, like I always have. I love music in general, you know what I'm saying? And I've always had a good ear for it and stuff, and I like poetry and writing and stuff, but I just didn't want to fall into that typical trap of like, oh, this nigga a rapper now, okay, regular shit, gang shit, drugs, abusing women. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just didn't want to fall into that trap, but at the same time, I genuinely found a love for it, and it caught me off guard. It happened when I was in college. Like I'm still in college. So when I started college, you know what I'm saying? So like I actively resisted, but at the same time, like I was going through a lot at the time on my personal life, and music was the only way I could really just like get through it, because it was like I didn't have anybody I could speak to about it that like I was comfortable enough sharing such like personal things with. But like the music just helped me like vent, because venting is very important, especially when you're going through very intense things in your life. Like just being able to say it out loud in some form just makes it easier to deal with. So music was a great help with that. And then I don't know, I kind of developed like this competitive like spirit, like because I feel like all rappers are competitive, you know what I'm saying? Everybody want to prove themselves to be the best. So it was like I had the love for it, the passion started to develop, and then I was like, I look at the people who are on top now, and I'm like, well, I saw where they started from, and I could do that. I could do better. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to shit on them, because they're amazing at what they do. All these different artists, you know what I'm saying? Who I would definitely want to work with in the future. But at the same time, I could go crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why not? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know? And I know I'm gonna figure it out, and I know I'm gonna do it in a way that's gonna be me. That was one thing from the jump. It was like, I'm not trying to be anybody else. Yeah, I might sound like another artist. Of course I'm gonna sound like another artist. Music industry is the art of the remix. You know what I'm saying? This person sound like that person gonna sound like that person, mixed with this artist and that artist. So of course you're gonna hear odes to Jay-Z or to this artist or that artist or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the artist that we grew up on. You know, this is who I was listening to when I was 6 years old, running around my house doing absolutely nothing. This is who was playing in the background. Or this is when my mom was cleaning the crib, and this was who was playing on the TV. Or it was like MTV Rap Night or 106 in Park. This is the music I grew up on. So of course it's gonna be a part of what I create. But at the same time, I am my own person, and I have my own life, and I'm living in a different time period, in a different world than these artists grew up in. I'm living in a different New York, a different Queens, a different time. You know what I'm saying?
Everything's different.
Yeah, so it's just like all those things. And then I was just like, I started to meet people who were doing these things. I even started to meet a couple like bigger names, like at least big in New York. And I got to see like a little sneak peek like inside the inner workings of like, you know, you see them on Instagram with the blue check and the rollies and the APs and the chains bussing and da and this and that. But then I got to see like the inner workings of like whatever machine it was that was making them look this good. And I was like, oh, this is not that complicated. You know what I'm saying? It's like 7 or 8 people with assigned tasks and duties that have a love for what they're doing and really rock with this artist genuinely. You know what I'm saying? And this artist is getting to their money however they get into it. But at the end of the day, they're getting it done. So it's like, even if it's selling drugs or having a job, they're getting it done. But at the same time, my whole thing with it is like, I feel like I said this before too, is like, I've always believed the difference between a drug dealer and a doctor is one has a degree, because they do the same thing in my opinion. But that's my opinion, obviously. But at the same time though, I just don't want to sell drugs because I don't want to go to jail. Like I keep it a buck. Yeah. I don't like jail.
You don't have to.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to do that. There's other ways to hustle. That's one thing I realized. It was like
hustler gonna find a way to
hustle. That's what I realized. It was like, especially with music. Music is expensive. Anybody that makes music knows the process is not cheap. So it was like, I got to get this paper. How I'm gonna do that? But then I realized there's other ways to hustle. And really just being consistent with it. And I was just like, okay, I can get a couple hundred in a day. I can get to 1,000 in a week, to 2,000 a week, to 5,000, 10,000 in a month. It's possible. I could do it. I saw myself do it. All right, rinse and repeat. I figured out a process that worked for me, and I did it. I did it over and over. Then I took like the basics of that process and tried to transfer it to like other occupations, other positions, other hustles, side jobs, this and that. And it was working. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, not everything's gonna bring the same amount of money, but money is money. Because 200 here could do that.
Because it's a game at the end of the day, and I think we see the game very, very similar. Because this is our first time talking in 2 years.
2 years.
But I've played it very similarly, where it's first off, I gotta find something now. I love hustling. Then it was gotta find a way for it to make money.
Right.
Then it was
can't be broke.
You know, consistency and making sure that you wanna keep on going, but also coming from like what you want to do, coming from a not a pretty space. It's not like, oh, you saw it and you was just like, oh, I'm captivated by it, I'm gonna do it. We grew up around some of these things. Like for me, you're going into music, I'm stepping into clothing. And I decided to take this route because I felt like it was, besides music, besides like art, there's not too many places where you can express. Same thing you were saying, expression. And I wanted to find a way where I could be as honest as I was. If you follow me on Instagram, I rant a lot, and that's real honesty from me. And I wanted to find a way to, take that same concept and be able to, have that conversation quicker, while also providing a service, while also making sure that I'm getting people, some really good quality items.
And connecting with them.
Exactly. So I started GFO right around like a real weird space in life, especially early 20s. It was just like a real weird, bad headspace. But like I had this one clarity about like what I want to do in life, or at least knowing that I want to add to my family, I want to add to the name,
right? And
I want to do it in a positive way. And so I was watching a basketball game one night, and like I'm watching the game and I'm fiending, like I'm every time somebody scores, like I'm cheering and stuff like that, and then I like almost like saw myself, and I was like, dang, like you're sitting here cheering on a team that if somebody like back then didn't start, you wouldn't be sitting here cheering for this. That whole stadium wouldn't be there cheering. Right. If somebody didn't start the NBA,
supporting someone else's dream.
Exactly. And that really did put things into perspective, that things really do start from small and then grow big. And unless you start something, you can't get to that point where it's a corporation or something huge. And so that's when the idea of taking my same creative ideas, because I feel like I've always been creative. I feel like I've always wanted some outlet where I can do my own thing, be consistent with it, rinse, wash, and repeat. I call it selling white to whites, where you take something that's really good to the point where people are willing to just buy it just because it's that, and rinse and repeat. The same hustle game that Hustlers is doing on the block is that same mentality of taking something and flipping and
because the process makes sense. I was talking to my family about this the other day. It's a funny situation that happened with us. I won't really go too much into it, but it was like they were upset about something, but I was like, I wasn't even mad, truthfully, because it was just the way you found out about the situation. It was hilarious to me because the person was doing the same thing, rinse, wash, and repeat. You get the real product, you know what I'm saying? You get the real sauce from the original of whatever this is. You break it down, mix it with something an idea you got, create a whole new product, and then you sell it for twice the price. You know what I'm saying? And you make a profit. So it was like the same thing when it comes to clothing or even music and things like that. Like it's just you figure out how to take the original game, because there's a reason it worked for the generations before you, because it makes sense. But then you mix it with your new age ideas, because the next up has to be next up. Because if you don't put your ideas into work, somebody after is gonna put theirs. You know what I'm saying?
We're at the age that all our favorites was when they either started or were first introduced into. So it's that feeling of, I remember us talking and being like, no matter what, like for us, I can't quote specifically, but for us, it's more of the process. Like no matter what we're doing, because when we were drumming, like when I first started back drumming, there was nothing to gain off of. It was just strictly get better, get better, get better, get better. Even if, you know, it meant traveling as far as I could to get to a session, if it meant playing as many gigs as possible and not getting paid, or getting paid just enough to travel. But even looking at that process, I got to a point where it was something where I could trade the value of it. You feel me? Like I got it to work by hustling for those, you know, how many years to get to a point where I was comfortable. And it's that same process going into clothing now, where you first off, my goal is to provide quality off rip. Every you know, medium I've used for creating, whether it be music, whether it be writing, whether it be the podcast itself, we focused on at least some level of like, all right, we have a base level of good here. Yeah. And so when it came to saying, okay, I'm going to start clothing, I made sure my sources are the best that I can find. I'm making sure that when I do get stuff made, it's, you know, to the quality I want it to.
That you're comfortable with.
Exactly. And I think
your name on it too.
That only comes from, well, not only it comes from, but we learned that from, you can't play bad. If you play bad, it's like, you feel it, you can hear it, people get turned off by it.
People can tell.
And
they can't tell, but they can tell.
Exactly.
Like, they don't know. It's the same thing. It's like it's hard to explain. Like maybe food is the best example. It's like when you eat some food, like, and you can tell this tastes bad, but you don't know why. You know what I'm saying? And the chef might know that like the onions were old that he used, or the chicken was a day away from expiring, or the gravy had too much vinegar or something. Like, you don't know why it's bad, but you can feel that something's off here. And the creator knows that too, but they slacked on it. You know what I'm saying? Or even like listen to a song and you're like, this don't really feel like the same level of I expect from this artist. And this artist knows that it was a half-assed record. And, you know, even, well, music is a little different because record labels kind of tend to push artists to put stuff out that artists might not believe is ready. So that blame can go 50-50. It could be artist or other label. But just in the context of the situation, like, you listen to their music and you're like, this is not the same quality I expect from them. And the artist might know, like, yeah, this record was half-assed, or we shot this video in a day and we didn't really plan it out. And don't get me wrong, run and gun videos are great, but at the same time too, there should still be some semblance of an idea or a concept there, whether, no matter how small it is, like something. You know what I'm saying? You owe that to your audience, because it's like, how do you want people to support you, to spend money to go to your show, or spend money to come to your restaurant, or spend money to buy your clothing, or take time out of the day to watch your video, and you don't even put enough effort into it that you would want to watch it or purchase it or enjoy it yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't convince somebody to want to experience something that I wouldn't want to experience. It's the same way, like, my best way I can explain it is music, just for me at least. But it's like, if I don't like this song, or if it doesn't relate to me or help me in some way, or like, if I just can't connect with it on some level, you know what I'm saying? It's the same way with certain artists. Like, I like Bryson Tiller. I don't like every Bryson Tiller song, you know what I'm saying? Because some of that shit, I ain't gonna lie, he be saying some stuff and I'd be like, bro, you can't jack that. Toxic stuff, just some stuff in general, just be like, you got me here, and then the next line, nah. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that's an artist that I can relate to his music. Where there might be an artist like Burna Boy, or even like B Love, and it's like, I might not relate to every single thing they say, but I relate to some of it, or understand some of it, or I can jack some of it. You know what I'm saying? I can appreciate some of it. So it's like, how can I ask somebody to appreciate or enjoy, or even just take the time out to experience something I created if I don't like it myself to some degree? You know what I'm saying? That's unfair.
No, for real.
Because people work hard for the time and people work hard for their money. So it's like, for you to give part of yourself to me in that form of like supporting what I'm doing, and I can't even put the work in to make it tough, to make it like, you know, dope, is disrespectful. Truthfully, yeah.
I felt that when I was first picking what I was gonna sell, it was like the easy option was to go to Alibaba and just grab some hoodies and, you know, just be like, yeah, I'm gonna attempt to put something out and see what it is.
Right.
But I knew that, number one, me as a consumer myself wants quality and wants things that will last me as long as possible. A lot of my clothes in my closet I've had just forever, and I have no issue with it because it does what it's supposed to do. It's held up for mad long.
I've had this hat for like 3 years.
You feel me? When something holds up, you stick with it.
Right.
So I knew that from jump. So going to, you know, some cheap place, and also a lot of these companies, you know, don't take care of their people. There's a lot of slave labor. There's a lot of pollution and issues like that. So me trying to be conscious of, you know, what I'm putting out there and how it's going to affect people, number one, because not all of my stuff, but a lot of my stuff is meant to initiate conversation or to talk about something specifically. So if I'm gonna do that, I might not catch your attention off rip. You might not look at one of my shirts and be like, oh, I mess with it. But knowing that you're probably only gonna get a level of quality like that I'm handing out from me, that's what I'm trying to get people to bite on, and then you can mess with the rest of the stuff later. But from me, that quality was the number one thing that I can measure. You can measure with, like, this is my hoodie. This is something I'm putting out, and I love this hoodie. I will wear it it's not even hot. I mean, it's not even cold, and I'm in here wearing my hoodie.
Yeah, I have a summer fit, and he has like a fall fit on. It's hilarious. When I saw him, I was like, what is this?
Mostly one, I wanted to have it on, so you know.
No, of course, I feel you.
But other than that, I'm comfy right now.
Yeah.
Like, I could be like this all day.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that I want to put out, if it's not at a level where and this is comfy because of specific things, like how heavy the garment is, of what materials I've used, and I made sure that it was exactly what I wanted. If I didn't go, yep, perfect, this is exactly what I want, I'm not doing it. So that level of quality, at the end of the day, the way when we first started For the Culture, when I went into Artist Collection Live, everything I said was, at least let's aim to get quality.
The best we can do at this level.
The best we can do. We can get good mics. We can get into a good studio. We can get good audio. That's good. That's the bar that we're trying to aim for.
Yeah.
Everything else we can figure out, because we were what? I was 18, 19 at the time or something like that. So now I'm 22, turning 23. That's a lot of time.
You weren't 18 at the time. You were probably like 20, like 19, 20.
I was probably 19, 20.
Older than me.
My birthday was in the summer. My birthday's summer, so like during that early year time, I'm usually still the year from.
Right.
You feel me? But it's just the work we were trying to put in, at least for me at that time, nothing had to be. I didn't have to blow up from anything. Nothing had to, be through the roof.
We just enjoyed talking.
We enjoyed talking. We enjoyed the work.
Gotta show them that I get love from the block to the corporate. Always show love so these doors open. Earn my name off of the waves, but now I mean something different. Hold it down for the ones I love. That's your gangsta in my eyes.